Thanks for clicking on Conversations with Crosswinds Counseling. I'm Curtis Smith, and I invite you to subscribe to our podcast and to like and share it as well. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Conversations with Crosswinds Counseling. I'm your host, Curtis Smith. Today on the podcast, we have Rachel Leonard, one of our counselors here in Dayton, Ohio. Great to be with you today, Rachel.
Thanks. Great to be with you.
Yeah, we are talking about the term attachment. Yeah. What does that mean from a counseling clinical perspective?
Okay. Well, I think that's kind of the clinical term, but it comes out of a lot of studies people did on families and how we learn to connect and feel safe and secure. I'd actually like to backtrack a little bit because we are, a Christian-focused counseling agency. So to me, attachment is important because our relationships are the core of who we are. Feeling safe and secure. And Psalm 34:18 says that God is close to the brokenhearted and that he rescues those whose spirits are crushed. To me, that communicates that God is present with us and he's, no matter what state we are in emotionally, he's with us. He's unruffled. Like his feathers are not ruffled by our challenges. And so to me, attachment, understanding how we attach, how we can connect with other people is another way to connect with God too.
Yeah. So connection is good.
Yes.
We need to be in connection with God. God created us to be in connection with others.
Yes.
When it becomes attachment, I don't know if I'm thinking through that correctly. If it becomes attachment, is that unhealthy, or is there just a certain level of connection that at times can be unhealthy for people?
A great question. So attachment is, I think I want to switch and move from that word.
Okay.
That's a theory, the attachment theory. Essentially, it's based on this idea that actually neuroscience is giving us more facts on this. That two people or that a person establishes and achieves equilibrium and feels balanced when they're within 6 feet of another human being.
Really?
Yeah, pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
So think about when you walk in a room and you can feel the mood in the space, right?
Yeah.
Or someone comes in the room, you can feel that person's presence. That is at its most basic element. That's attachment. That's connection, right? It's that homeostasis that we're all designed to experience.
Right.
So there's secure attachment, which is the goal. We all want to have secure attachment. Essentially, I feel safe. I feel seen, heard, understood. That's secure attachment. So we all want that.
Right.
There's insecure attachment, which is just basically a style of how we learned to relate to other people, usually through our primary caregiver and just experiences we had early in life. And so it becomes a lens that we see life through and can sometimes not always tell us the truth. So I could geek out and tell you the different types of attachment styles, but I think more importantly, it would be helpful to know, am I securely attached?
Yeah. It sounds like it might be important to know, for us to know as humans, what our style is and what that means, what we bring into these situations. So how do you go about learning what your style is? I have no idea what my style is. Right. I think, I'm an extrovert. I know that about myself. Sure. I like being around people. I loved what you said about being within 6 feet of people helps us feel at equilibrium. I feel that all the time, but I have no idea what my style is. So if I wanted to explore that and understand how I connect with people and what my style is, how would I go about that?
Okay. Well, kind of the hallmarks of secure attachment is I'm good at saying no. I'm good at setting boundaries. And also I have a strong sense of self-worth and self-esteem. So those are kind of some check. I've got those things, right? I'm also good at sensing other people and their needs and not always getting overwhelmed with those needs, but being able to show up for them. Those are some kind of hallmarks of, hey, I've got secure attachment.
Okay.
So the other side, the insecure attachment style, there's kind of 3 types. And typically we like categories, right?
Sure.
So we've got these extremes of like one end, we've got someone that typically would be like titled, oh, super clingy or needy, right? And that doesn't mean they are that way, but maybe they feel an extreme need that's not being met by the person that is, say, their significant other or a parent or something like that. It feels like no matter what they do, I can't get close enough.
Yeah.
So there's that style. And then there's another style that's kind of, I don't need anyone. I'm independent and your emotions overwhelm me. And then there's a third one that's kind of a mix of the two. Like, it's kind of like one of these, like, come close but go away. And I would say that learning that, it starts, instead of looking for a label for yourself, it's really leaning into, like, when I'm in a relationship, what do I find myself naturally wanting to do? And understanding that if I feel like I'm not getting enough from somebody, maybe there's something I need to work on in myself. Or if I feel like everyone's too much, again, that's another clue that maybe I need to start to explore beliefs and patterns I've developed in my own experience.
This is fascinating.
It is pretty fascinating.
Is it doable? Is it easy to do without the help of a counselor? Like, I honestly, like, I'm sitting here processing it about myself, thinking, gosh, I wonder where I fall on that spectrum. And
sure.
Is there a way to dive into that? Obviously, seeing a counselor here at Crosswinds Counseling is a great way to dive into it. But is there another way?
Sure.
Are there books? Are there resources? Are there things that people can do to understand this at a deeper level, kind of on their own?
Sure. Actually, I brought 2 that I really like. This is, don't mind on my Post-it notes. But if you can tell, I refer to it a lot. This is a book written by Mylan and Kay Yurkovich. I think I'm saying that right. It's called How We Love. And I love everything they do because they're very attachment oriented. They have a free assessment that can kind of give you a baseline of where do I land. And they actually go deeper than just 3 insecure styles. I think they have like 5. And they have a workbook with this book. So it's kind of cool because once you kind of take the test and you read about yourself and you're like, oh, what's wrong with me? All the things. You can use that workbook and it gives a lot of questions that help you start to realign and maybe make some changes. So you are working on having a more secure relationship.
Right.
So I love that.
I like that. Yeah.
This one's called Unlocking Your Family Patterns. And I like this because a lot of times it helps from a parenting standpoint and for like couples who are saying, we've done a lot of work on our own selves, but how do we make our family a little more secure than what we grew up in? And so it's 2 big names we've heard of, Townsend and Cloud.
Right,
and
I
then,
know those names.
Yeah, Dave Carter and Earl Henslin. I'm not as familiar with, but I love their work. It's very theological. I say theological. It connects to the Bible as well.
Okay.
So it's not just clinical.
Yeah,
talking.
so I know Cloud and Townsend will often have a biblical theological basis in their work. What about Mylan and Kay? Is this from a Christian perspective as well?
As well, yes.
Great.
So that's why I like them because they're also really practical. They're not just going to give you a label. They're going to be like, here's how you can start to adjust your style and your pattern.
As a counselor, how do you do that? When someone comes in and says, I need to connect better with people, or I want to understand my style of working with other people, how do you, it just seems like it would be really hard to get it down to a practical level. How do you work with somebody to be practical and get out of the theoretical?
I love that question because I've always been a yeah, but how person. Don't tell me what to do.
Right.
Tell me how to do it.
Yeah.
So to me, another kind of layer from my own practice is I look at things through an emotionally focused lens. And it's really, how do I keep connection? So I'm going to ask a lot of open-ended questions early in my connection with a client. I'm going to ask them about their, family of origin and which family members they're closest to. And I'm going to start to see the patterns show up pretty quickly. But I feel like it's something that we have to come to our own awareness on. So I can give you kind of like we did today. I can say, hey, these are different ways people connect.
Right.
And you can start to identify that. But the process that we go through in therapy is a lot of times very like in the moment. You just felt disconnected. What was that like for you? Where do you feel that in your body? What do you feel like you need right now? So it's learning kind of that mindfulness and awareness piece.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have a therapist, because the therapist can then kind of be that secure person that
right.
you're learning to have a secure connection
and give you the outside perspective that sometimes we need. It's hard to get, right? Sometimes we don't see ourselves the way others see us. We have an image, or I have an image in my mind of who I am.
Exactly.
I probably don't always come off the way I think I do, or I don't reflect back to someone the way I think I am. So it's good to have that perspective. Rachel, fascinating conversation. Thank you so much. Rachel Leonard is one of the wonderful counselors here at Crosswinds Counseling. You can connect with Rachel or any of them at crosswindscounseling.org. Thanks for checking out the podcast. Rachel, thank you for being on the podcast today. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching Conversations with Crosswinds Counseling today. I hope it was helpful for you. Don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss an episode. Like and share it as well. We appreciate that and hope you have a great day.